Hey y'all, Eric Gall here from Empowering Ability, and today I want to talk about a really important topic that has been um, making me quite angry, to be quite honest with you. And so today I want to talk about the R word, and I also want to provide a trigger warning because uh, you personally might this might bring up some traumas or negative feelings for you. So I just wanted to offer that before I dive into this conversation with you any further. So it's we're progressing through this pandemic and COVID-19, and we're getting back into being more social, right? And what I've noticed entering back into more of a social way of life is how prevalent I'm hearing people use the R word. And it angers me. So we need to talk about it. I need to talk about it. And you might be experiencing this as well. Maybe even your loved one with a developmental disability has experienced this. And now, when people are using the R word, I don't often see it being directed per se at my sister or people with developmental disabilities, but it's still a discriminatory word. And we need to be thinking about how we can advocate for people to not be using that word and be using different words. So, and the reason I think this is so important is it's not just strangers that I hear using this word; it's people that are close to me, and they know what I do. They know about my family situation, and they still somehow think it's okay to use this word. And again, you might be experiencing something similar. And when I hear, especially someone close to me using the R word, it feels like a kick in a kick in the face or a kick in the teeth or a kick somewhere else, right? Like it hurts and it leaves me feeling paralyzed, or at least it used to leave me feeling paralyzed. Like did they just say that? And then the feeling is like, oh, I don't know what to do or what to say because what I think just like the maybe the pleaser in me doesn't want to cause a conflict with that other person that I care about. But in the same token, what the way that they're speaking is directly against my values. So I have this deep desire to address uh, the language and how that's devaluing and offensive for people with developmental disabilities. So if I found that if I don't say something, it leaves me feeling resentful towards that person and also not wanting to spend time with them. So uh, it's been, I've been thinking about how to address it, and I wanted to record this video just to share some of this thinking with you because um, what I'm sharing here with you might, more likely than not, you've been in a similar situation and felt similar feelings, especially having a loved one with a developmental disability, or maybe even, you're a supporter of people with developmental disabilities, and you have maybe a greater understanding. So I was in a conversation with a mom, and she shared an experience about someone using the R word, and she gave me a tip that she got from a tip from somebody else. But the default answer that she now, or default response that this mom provides when someone uses the R word is use a different word. Use a different word. 4 words, right? And it's just a response that is it's easy to get out, right? And it's something that you can kind of have in your pocket to kind of pull out whenever you're hearing that word. And it's maybe a little bit less confrontational than saying something like, that word is really offensive. I would appreciate it if you didn't use it. That's a completely respectful and appropriate response as well. But I think the worst thing that we can do is not say anything, because if we don't say anything, it doesn't change the societal conversation that's happening. It doesn't stop the devaluation. It doesn't stop the offensive language towards people with developmental disabilities. So the worst thing we can do is not say anything. And also, if we don't say anything, as I mentioned earlier, like I was feeling resentment towards people that were, saying that word. So I can take action, right? I can advocate, and I can change the thinking in that person's mind, or at least hopefully give them a moment to reflect on the language that they're using and how that might be offensive to other people. And then more importantly, like maybe that person then says something else to someone else if they use the R word, right? So it can have this ripple effect and change the way we operate as a society. So the worst thing you can do is nothing, right? If you're not sure what to say, try it. Say, use a different word, right? Or you can go into more detail on how that might be offensive or it's discriminatory, whatever feels best for you. But I just wanted to give you those 4 simple words that you can use to help that person change their language, right? So I offer this to you to make change in your networks, and to advocate. And if you use other tools or techniques that have been effective for you, I welcome you to share them in the comments below. Whether that's a technique or a tool that you use when someone says the R word, or to advocate for more valued and appropriate language, and maybe to be decreasing devalued language such as the R word. That is being used pretty prevalently still in society today. So I welcome you to share the tools and techniques that you're using in the chat below. So I'm Eric Gall. Thank you for being a part of this conversation and for taking action, right? I really appreciate all of y'all that are actively advocating and changing the societal conversation, so that our loved ones with developmental disabilities are continuing to become more and more valued in our society. So I'm Eric Gall. Together, let's take a small step forward this week.